Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm Bob DeMarco. Coming up, the Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway knife for this month. We're going to take a look at a keychain multi-tool, and I'm going to get a couple others from this brand that just might be Victorinox killers. Victorinox killers? And then do we really need all that EDC? That's a big part of it. I've been into multi-tools recently in the form of Victorinox knives. Still have not gone down still have not nerded out over the pliers-based multi-tools like Leatherman, but really into the Victorinox right now, and it's making me wonder, do I need all this stuff? So curious what you guys think and where you're going with that. Pat D's Nuts, nice to have you here, sir. Hope I can take it. Oh, hope I can make it tonight. Mandatory OT tomorrow. You've been voluntold, sir. 4:30 wake up, 10-hour shift. It's bullshit, isn't it? Birthday is Saturday the 13th. Happy birthday, Pat. Will you be discussing the Nova 2 tonight? Still hoping to snag lucky number 13. No, I am not. But I think after this coming weekend, this weekend, I have a long weekend, and in that period of time, I'm going to be doing a little bit of drawing, and yeah, that it's something that Matt and I are gearing up for. We'll probably have about the same timetable as we did last year. Fernando Salome, nice to have you here, sir. Good evening, Knife Junkies. Bob, Jim, glad to be here with my Knife Junkies. Well, cheers, sir. Cheers to you. Have a nice day. Have a knife day. What am I talking about? Good to have you here, sir. Within a reasonable scope, of course, one does not need to have backups and scalability. One does need to have backups and scalability. Yes, I agree with that. This all came up with the Knipex pliers. I saw someone's video a few weeks back. I think it was Marine X talking about how you don't need those Knipex pliers people take pictures of. We talked about it here. Some people here actually have jobs where those come in extremely handy and extremely useful. But Marine X was basically saying a lot of us are not that guy, and we actually really don't need to carry around high-end German pliers. Is that you? It could be. Ground Fog, nice to see you here, sir. We have Ground Fog. This is, let me see. No, okay, that's it. For a second, it was blaring in my eye. Pete Davidson, good day, junkies. Good to have you here, sir. Been sitting at home all week with the vid. I'm sorry to hear that. Lucky we have Uncle Bob to keep us entertained. Sorry you got the vid. I hope it's an easy version. They seem to get, at this point, it's like, how do you even know? Are you testing? But actually, it still wallops people. Yeah, now and again. So can't be too careful within reason. Pete Davidson says, no, you really don't need all that EDC. Just like we don't need salt and pepper on our food, but it does make it better, doesn't it, Pete? I think all of this laying around has gone to your head and you're making some serious sense. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Spice of life kind of stuff. And, maybe it comes in handy. From time to time, but yeah, you're exactly right. I like that. Okay, end of the show. No, I really like that parallel. Anyway, the budget guy KT, nice to have you here, man. No Pete, absolutely no food needs pepper. I can go either way on salt, but pepper is essential. What's funny is when my wife was pregnant with our first daughter, she could not handle black pepper, made her sick, and her mother had just gotten me this beautiful pepper mill, and it was making her sick, so I had to cut it out. To this day, she's still a little on black pepper now. Funny as that is. This old sword, nice to have you here, Dave. Evening, Bob, Jim, junkies, all. Best EDC is minimalist, and you are exceedingly familiar. You are exceedingly familiar with. The rest are just collectibles and toys that we deserve, of course. Yes. Speaking of toys, Dave, I have this just for Showtime security, because I have my EDC out on the table in front of me. But Dave is also a huge fan of Dirk Pinkerton and has a beautiful triple-edged Warncliffe in the form of the fire ant by him. So I thought I'd, you know, it's like the Jeeps flashing their lights at one another. Daniel Huff, nice to have you here, sir, man. Sir, man. Good evening, Bob, Jims, and fellow junkies. Well, good evening to you, sir. Got to wet the whistle. You know, this will be after I'm done with this coffee. I will be tucking into some water, and this will be a first for today, pretty much. Yeah, I had a ginger ale before. That's about it. Splitting slices. Nice to have you here, Byron. Howdy, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. TNK, Ground Fog, Pete D, Budget Guy, Togata, Daniel H, and all coming in. Well, good to have you here, man. And Togata, that's a knife designed by Mr. Cones of Cones Craft, and done by Best Tech, I believe. That's probably not why that's your screen name, but that just rang a bell. Chris, we have Blade Ogre. Nice to have you here, sir. Hello, all, he says. Well, hello, right back, sir. Will B. Hey, Jim, Bob, and Junkies. Hey, Will, how you doing? Good to have you here. I am blabbing and not showing any knives. Let me show you this one as I greet you all. Like this fine gentleman, another Robert Douglas. Evening, Bob, Will, Ogre, and all. Don't miss stuff till you need it. That is so true. That is so true. But where does it stop? That's what I want to know. That's why carrying certain things is seasonal for me. I'm not always carrying certain things, if you know what I mean. And to me, that's a problem because those certain things should be carried all the time if they're carried at all. So yeah, really working out what you need and what you're most likely going to need. But as our times change, we might really actually need now things that we thought, oh, we don't really need to carry that. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Not pleased with the state of the world. Let me just say that. Gnarly Wagner, nice to have you here, sir. Every day I EDC my skateboard. Now I understand that it's got to be funny hearing a 52-year-old man. I can hear my daughter saying, "Oh, Dad, that's so cringe." But every day I EDC my skateboard. You don't think that it is a self-defense tool, then I don't know what to tell you. I would say that it is one hell of a self-defense tool. I think if you hold it by the trucks, I believe they're called, and swing and use the edge, it would be kind of like having a it's kind of like having a guitar in a way from India, and then if you sacrificed it and put it on a I don't know how stout and sturdy skateboards are. I don't know if you could do this, but if you put it on a curb and stomp on it and break it in half and then hold a truck in each hand and have jagged edges up front, it could be like really could be like two guitars. But in any case, I'm sure you want to get out of there once you're done using it as a weapon. So probably that is not recommended, but no doubt a skateboard could be used as a weapon. Craig Vincent, nice to have you here, Craig. Hey there, ready for some junk jitsu? Oh yes, indeed. Junk jitsu, indeed. I think that's what I practice. James Moore, nice to have you here, James. Happy Thursday night. Got to start driving home from work, but I'll be listening. Well, drive safely, sir. I hope you enjoy. I love driving. I just love driving. And I was thinking today, this morning, about that time when we had to take the keys from Grandpa. You know, he was in his 90s and it was time. And he did not go easy. And I was like, I could see, I know why. There's nothing. I love driving. I just love driving. So anyway, have a safe drive and keep your eyes peeled. Keep that vision open and focus darting. Robert Douglas says being without, not an option. Yes, no, definitely not an option. And I'm trying to get better at carrying a lighter. I have a bunch of old Zippos from back in my smoking days, which my daughter's like, "You smoked?" And I was like, "Yeah, I lived in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, I smoked. What of it?" But at the time, I was really my body didn't like it too much, but I loved the lighters. I loved cool cigarette cases, like Chinatown, and so I had a cool setup. but then they would make my hands sweat and I'd get all shaky. And after a while, it just wasn't cool. So I dropped the habit, but I kept the lighters. I love the lighters. Trying to keep Zippos on me now because you never know when you have a bad guy in a swimming pool and you get to like throw gasoline in and then you throw the Zippo in like Osterman Weekend. Anyone see that one? Kent McNesshart, nice to have you here, sir. Good evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Happy Thursday Night Knives. Well, happy Thursday Night Knives to you, sir. Oh, no, it's not this one. I was going to say, recognize this old chestnut, but it wasn't this one. EDC says, first of all, nice to have you here, EDC. Good morning from the UK. Well, good morning to you, sir. I hope you're waking up just fine, and I hope the day ahead of you has a lot of promise. And if not, I hope you make it so. Wow, that was a bit inspirational, but my wife lived in England for 14 months when we were a courting. So I went over there quite a bit, London, but we did a little bit of excursioning. But man, I loved it. And I love the culture and I met so many cool people. And also I loved drinking my dinner every once in a while. I'd meet my wife at her office and we'd go to the pub. And then it was hours later, pub with her friends and stuff. And then hours later, we're going home. It's like, oh, we didn't eat. What about the chips or the crisps they put in the middle of the table? I'm like, okay, I guess we did eat, but we filled up nicely. Anyway, thank you. It's good to have you here, and I bid you good day or good morning, sir. Oh, wait, sorry, I said sir. And once when I was in England, I said sir to a taxi driver, and he got mad. He was like, "What are you taking a piss?" And I said, "No." He said, "Well, why'd you call me sir?" I said, "Oh, well, that's like that's like a sign of respect, sir, ma'am, that kind of thing." And he's like, "Not here it isn't. It sounds like you're making fun of me. It's obvious I'm not royalty. I'm driving a taxi cab." And I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. What should I call you?" Stop me if you've heard this one. I'm sure you've heard it before. And he says, "Governor." And I was like, "Okay, governor." And I thought, how cool. I'm going to call this guy governor. So anyway, there you go. I'm a Yank. What can I say? Craig Vincent, I need salt, pepper, and more knives. Craig, so do I. Actually, I've been a little bummed at my level of acquisition. I haven't been acquiring as much recently, but I that is a good thing because I have a lot, and I'm afraid I'm not really enjoying the stuff I'm getting. And I have never been the sort of channel that gets all the new stuff. I love those channels, and I go to them to find out about the newest stuff. But man, I just wonder how many knives Neves must have, or Stasa, and what it's like to try to sell all those knives off. Every once in a while, you got to do it. I know Dave. Dave has a huge collection, and I know like it becomes a struggle about what to keep because they're all cool. Once they're in your hand, it's like, I can't believe I thought of selling you today. You're so cool. I mean, how many times have I gone through that? So it's hard to do. And then once you decide to do it, there's no guarantee that you're going to move a knife. So anyway, Blade Ogre. In addition to knives, I always carry a pen. Yes. A small screwdriver and a flashlight, aka torch. Use them almost every day. I'm curious about the small screwdriver. That sounds like a very job specific tool. I wonder what what you use that for. Not legal in California. Nice to have you here, sir. I keep hearing about the stuff they keep pulling in your beautiful, beautiful state, and I just look forward to the day that things change back to some good old fashioned insanity in California, not this new kind of fascistic insanity. Anyway, not legal in California. Nice to have you here, sir. I like to EDC the dick pic from Wingard Wearables every day. I got the quill, so I get it. I don't have a dick pic yet, though. Great spike and pry bar, perfect box cutter and everyday tool. No doubt. No doubt. And I like his description as an extension of the finger. Edgy American, Shane, nice to have you here, sir. Bob, I've seen your lady. I would have swam to London. Yes. Thank you, man. Thank you. Wow. I'm going to tell her that, and that's going to make her feel great. That's cool. Yes, indeed. love of my life, and I met her doing martial arts. So met her doing knife sparring. So lots of lots of coolness. And I was like, I'm gonna marry that girl. And I never said that before. So it was true. Doug Bull, nice to have you here, Doug. Hello, Bop. Lost my 30-year-old SOG folder. Oh God. What would you recommend for a lockback? All right, I'm not sure which SOG folder you have, but I have an old SOG folder from 1991, so same era, and it looks, it's got the rubberized handle, and it's got a bolster, and it's got a blade that looks like the SOG Bowie blade, and it's got a nail neck and no one hand option, and it was a great knife but heavy. So if you like that, I mean, why not just to bridge the gap before you figure out what else you want? Or this could do it, but it might not be, I don't know, might not be what you're looking for. But check out, just get a buck 112, about the same size. If I'm thinking of the same knife, about the same size as that SOG, great lockback, even though the steel is 420. Can't believe it. No, even though the steel is, 420, Buck does a great job with their heat treat. So this steel is very sharp and maintains a reasonable edge for a reasonable period of time. And I use this and the 110, which lives upstairs in my dresser. I have used them a lot. They've been eclipsed by other things lately, but these have gotten a lot of use just hanging out where they live on my desk down here and in my dresser upstairs, and they are excellent. So I would consider that. If you want something more tactical, oh my God, man, and you want a lockback, go to Cold Steel and get a Code 4. You have your choice of clip point, Tonto, or drop point, or if you want something a little chunkier, and it's not even chunky at all, but you get American Lawman, that's nice and thin, or a Recon 1. So that's what I would do. If you want something a little more traditional, something maybe slightly a little more in line with that, with that SOG, look at Buck. And I'm not necessarily recommending this very pedestrian normal version of the 112. You can go on their website and find all different versions with different steels and special kind of versions of it, or you can build your own. But Buck is great, and they're American. And man, there's talk about heritage right here. Man, talk about bags under the eyes. I've got 4. I'm going on a trip, people. Jesse, nice to have you here, Jesse. Grab the Knife Center medal is my business sack. Wait. Grab the Knife Center medal is my business sack. All right. I'm getting you a Swiss Army knife. Grabbed the Knife Center. Knife Center. I don't know what the metal part is, but anyway, if it's the, are you talking about the X? Is it this, the Pioneer X? Because I know that Knife Center does. Please explain. I'm floundering here, Jesse, but I know the Knife Center does a great, beautiful exclusive of the Pioneer X. Ow, shit, that's the blade with the scissors, and so I'm wondering if it's that. Great thing to have at work, no doubt. I live in Texas, not legal in California. Lives in Texas. I'm not legal in California. I got you. Then you're definitely not legal here. Actually, here is way better than California. I mean, in terms of knife laws and such. And just in general, I would say, in terms of laws in general. But in terms of like raw natural beauty, I think, how do you beat California? It's got everything in terms of climates and land types. Pete Davidson says, had to reassess my EDC recently because of potential interactions with the police. And it made me realize there are lots of stuff we can do without that, and not to count on a knife as a primary weapon. All right, here's one. I show this off a lot. Where is it? Do I have it here? I think I moved it, I guess. Oh, well. It's a travel weapon. It's a weapon I bring when I travel, and it's just a giant nut, the biggest nut you can find at Home Depot, and a length of paracord. And I have one on my desk at work, and I used to have one right here. I think I may have. Did I give it to? I guess I gave it to my daughter because she's been asking for one. But yeah, it's a little nut on the end of a string, and man, you can make a difference with that thing. So yeah, I think it's when you're limited, it's almost kind of fun to figure out what to do. Pens are great, and I'm not talking about tactical pens, but it's fun to like. I think all metal, stainless steel Parker Jotters. First of all, they're great pens. I love Parker Jotters. They're classic. You kind of look if you get one of the colored barreled jotters, you look kind of like a reporter from the 50s or 60s. That's kind of cool. And but they write great. And if you get an all stainless one, you click out the ink barrel and it's a puncture tool. It's a spike. So it's fun kind of figuring out how to travel with things when you're totally limited like that. But all that said, I hope you don't have these interactions with the police, or if you do, that it's because of work and it's fun and expected, and you're not under scrutiny. Let's say. So best of luck with that part. Have a Knife Day says Leatherman Arc with 2-bit kits with a standard and ratcheting bit extender rounded off with a small Knipex pliers. Are you saying this is what you carry? Have a Knife Day? Because if you are, that's a serious flex, and I have respect for it, but I'm wondering what it is. Metal is our business. Swiss Army knife. I mean, okay. I figured you meant Swiss Army knife, and metal is your business. Yes, sir. But what is the Swiss Army knife? Because unless you have a rotating batch of them, because I gotta say, today I was carrying one, and we're gonna get to that in a second. I've been kind of obsessing weirdly about them, and funny Scab over at Choir Boys Cutlery. I noticed he's carrying Swiss Army knives lately, and it just makes me think. When I was working in New York City at Warner Brothers, doing cutting sales videos and stuff like that, I pitched an idea to someone because I thought I might make a movie, and then something very similar. And I'm not saying that this guy stole it, but he kind of did, maybe. Anyway, the idea was changed and tweaked and by a professional, and he's like, well, these ideas are just in the air, things just kind of happen at the same time, and you just sort of pluck ideas out of the air. And I'm like, oh, like the idea that I put into the air with my mouth, you just kind of plucked it and it's just in the air and it's part of the zeitgeist. That's the other thing they would say, but it's part of the zeitgeist. Oh, I get it. It's part of the zeitgeist. So you can just steal it. Anyway, that's a weird business. For a lockback, try the Lion Steel TM1, says this old sword. An unbelievably smooth lockback. Oh, yeah. And speaking of which, a good friend of ours, Colin Maison-Pierre of CM Designs, has a knife with Kaiser called the Tonic. That is kind of a revolutionary lockback in that, or I should say, an innovative lockback in that there's a ball bearing on the portion of the lock that interfaces with the rounded part of the tang, so that it opens and closes like butter, baby. I had one on loan from him for a while, and it's a cool knife. Now, if I were someone who was into spending, good production money, and what I mean by that is 200 or plus on a 3-inch knife, which I'm not because that's not a primary carry for me, I would be all over that sucker. It is beautiful. So if you like smaller knives, smaller meaning 3-inch blade, check out the Tonic. It is absolutely gorgeous, by Kaiser, designed by CM Designs. Talk amongst yourselves. Toyotas and tools. Nice to have you, Toyota. Toyotas. Mini Knipex can be justified by carrying if you open glass bottles frequently. I'd see for a second, I saw Toyotas and tools, and I'm like, all right, this is a man who needs those pliers. But yeah, I guess you need them just to crack open the beers, the brewskis. Jesse said, Victorinox Swiss Army Tinker multi-tool. Okay, so we were just talking right before we started rolling, Jesse, and that's what Jim, our fearless producer, carries. He always has a Swiss Army knife on him. And I determined through very cursory questioning, like, does it have a Phillips screwdriver on the bottom? That I'm pretty sure it's a Tinker because I remember seeing it. But metal is our business. 3.6 inches closed, knife center exclusive. All right. Thank you. I got to check that out. I love all the different exclusives. I have an exclusive Tinker I want from Smoky Mountain Knife Works that has Sasquatch on it. I like Sasquatch. What can I say? What a cool, what a weird and mysterious thing, I gotta say. Once you go down that rabbit hole, and I'm sure we all have little pet interests down which we go down. We go down the rabbit holes of whatever. I was into UFOs for a long time. Years ago, read a bunch of books, but they had to be certain books. They had to have like military guys and fighter pilots talking about it. Otherwise, I was like, if it's just a regular person, I don't believe them. But now I just kind of believe everybody. I'm way more apt to believe some rando that I've never met who said they saw something flying around in the sky than some representative, some government dude, some media guy saying, oh, that's a hoax. Oh, that's silly. That couldn't possibly exist. We would have found something by now. That guy's afraid. That guy is afraid of glancing through the veil. Have a Knife Day says also mace, which I used on a shoplifter on New Year's Eve. Yes, man. Yes. I love that. First of all, against a shoplifter, and two, mace. I got a bunch of mace. I got a 6-pack of mace for Christmas. Everyone got one in their stockings. And then it's from Palm. And then I have mine, one of mine, duct taped under a desk that I spend a lot of time at every day, just in case someone comes into that space and is angry, which is not highly unlikely. And I don't want to stab first. Let's put it that way. Not Legal in California says, I chose the name Not Legal in California because all the good guns we had for sale at the gun shop had Not Legal in California written on the box or tag, if not both. That's so funny. Same thing with knives. You look at the specs on knives on a lot of different websites, Smoky Mountain Knife Works chief among them, because they have so many Chinese knives. But you'll see like a Rough Rider like this, and it'll say, California says this knife will give you cancer. And I was like, hey, you California. I want my double-bladed jackknife. And, like, how do you know that this knife in particular is going to do that? Edgy American says, California was made beautiful by the chaos of nature and made ugly by the chaos of people. Jeez, man. Is that a song lyric, Shane? That was good, man. That's totally true and deep and beautiful. Nicely done. Okay, this old sword says, my favorite Swiss Army knife is the Swiss Army officer's knife, which is what my German friend called it when gifted to me 34 years ago for my birthday present. That is cool. So I wonder what's the Dave, tell me what the tools are on that. I'm curious about that because this is something I care about all of a sudden. Catface enthusiast, nice to have you here, Catface. Before we get into it, let me just say, our cat Luna, man, she has a face, and sometimes she just looks at you like this. Well, not me. She loves me. I mean, I rescued her from oblivion, and she recognizes that, and she just adores me, and she adores the family. We all get our kiss on the forehead or the nose every morning, but if you're doing something that she disapproves of, or the dog, she'll do this all the time. She's got a real, like, her brow furrows, and she kind of cocks her head like really? It's funny. But anyway, I carry a Catface enthusiast says, I carry a lightning out the front. That is a good high value out the front. And a Swiss Army knife Spartan because I'm scared to lose anything expensive. Yeah, I feel that. I understand that. So I would say, don't get anything expensive. And then you say, don't tell me what to get. And then I say, you're absolutely right. But unless you have fondle sessions at home that are rewarding, where you sit down and now I'm going to like play with my or check out my expensive knife that I don't allow myself to carry. Unless you have time to do that, to appreciate those, I question keeping them. And I'm not questioning your keeping them. I'm questioning my keeping them, because I feel this burden of this really great knife. No, I'm just kidding. But I have a bunch of like knives that I just don't carry, that I just have a hard time getting rid of. And I pick them up and I'm like, man, this is a great knife. And I put it down and I'm like, I'm never going to carry it. So I gotta just muster the energy to try and get rid of some of them. Do sales on YouTube still work? Is that still a thing? I don't know. I have never been successful at a sales video. I have not sold one knife with a sales video, and I've attempted numerous times. It's always been putting them on blade forums, but that doesn't work anymore either. I think I got to go to Reddit, but I'm 52 years old. What am I going to go to Reddit? What am I, like a hacker? Not legal in California says, I've been carrying a Swiss Army knife, Swiss Champ since about 2010, and it's a great EDC. Okay, the Swiss Champ, that's a big one. Has pliers and a pen and a magnifying glass and needle and about anything you will need. That's cool. I like the idea of, I was really resistant to the magnifying glass for a long time. But now I like the idea of having it on there. And it's an age thing, because like for me, it's very difficult with my glasses, with my readers on or my glasses off, which is how I see things close up best, to read what the steel is on a Wii or Civivi or Sencut. They are so discreet with their labeling, which I appreciate. But a magnifying glass, just to have like a Swiss Army knife with a magnifying glass right here on the desk all the time, to be used for all different manner of odds and ends. But looking at tang stamps and looking at that kind of thing, it's suddenly making sense to me. I always thought, who's gonna start a fire with a magnifying glass? You could, no doubt, depending on where you are. But anyway, I like the idea of that knife, the Champ, the Swiss Champ. That being said, I think it's time now we get to a pocket check. There was a lot of foreshadowing because I kept picking it up. But today, and actually quite a bit recently, I've been carrying this knife. This is the Emerson Tiger. I love this knife. It's got the CQC 13 handle and then a sort of beefed up version of the CQC 8 blade. Clip point, upswept, somewhat blade. Gigantically generous wave that opens just by looking at it. No, it opens up very, very easily. I absolutely love this knife. If you're, if you're wondering about this CQC 13 handle or Emerson knives in general, this is a very good one. I very much like this one. Super sharp. You can see the height of the primary edge here. It is a chisel edge. Chisel ground knives are super sharp. Especially like this one, it's V ground, but then the edge is chiseled, so it's like half of a V ground edge. So very, very thin and sharp and slicey. And this is just one of those peace of mind knives. And by the way, I also had one that I was carrying. Like I've been doing this lately, where I'll have 2 or 3 knives and I'll rotate through them for about 2 weeks or something. And so it's been that and this. For the past week or two. This is the MK Ultra by Fox Knives, and designed by Jason Knight, and Doug Marcaida was involved somewhere, and just a beautiful, beautiful knife. I love carrying this 4 1/4 inch blade, but pretty damn thin, and carries like a much smaller knife, and is a beautiful representation of a kukri in folding form. Love this thing. But anyway, today I didn't have that on me, but it's been around a lot recently. All right, next on me, my slip joint today was this Swiss Army One by Swiss Army knife. Now I mean by Victorinox. I was trying to figure out, is this also the Solo? So I know that there's one called the Solo. This everything I see is called a Swiss Army One. I know there's a Swiss Army Two, which I would love to get. That I believe sharing the same spring has a very small worn clip or hawkbill blade that comes out of that side. But this thing has amazing snap, and I have discovered, or okay, I will, unless it has a half stop. I'm not saying walk and talk. I'm saying snap. And this one, look at this. Let's see. I mean, it just really pops out. Let's see if the mic captures it. It doesn't. It just sounds like a little click coming through your speakers, but this thing has incredible snap and is a great knife. I got this for 20 bucks on Amazon. It's got the beautiful A-locks. It's a 93 millimeter, so it's large. It's larger than your regular standard 91 millimeter, and it's the size of a Pioneer, or in this case, the Pioneer X. I love these A-locks models. The only thing is, how is it that the Swiss, of all people, with their engineering and precision, can't figure out how to put scale tools in aluminum? Or would that be gunking it up? Is the purist saying, Bob, what are you, some sort of a barbarian? You can't put the scale tools in the A-locks. That would be so gauche. That would be so like tacky. Is that a thing? I don't know. I can't tell, but do you see how that once it passes a certain point, it just snaps shut. I love this thing. Anyway, I've been carrying this quite a bit. It drops in the pocket. You barely detect it. It's a little bit bigger than this one, which disappears in the pocket. If you don't have an A-locks Swiss Army knife, you got to get the Cadet. You got to start with the Cadet because it's got the great blade. This is an 84 millimeter. And then it's got this really awesome nail file and nail tool. And then it's got the opening side, So, and it's big enough to drop in the pocket and to land horizontally at the bottom of your pocket and not be a total buzzkill rattling around down there because it's about the width of an iPhone. So there you go. Well, the iPhone I carry, which is a 13. All right. Next up on me, I had the most awesome. I love winter because I'm more apt to carry this in the winter because it is a little bit bigger and heavier for my EDC. But this is the Hogtooth Ruffian and Dagnabbit. I'm looking at Ruggian, and I just like a Mama Luke. I didn't. Okay. This is practice what you preach. And I always tell my girls, you got to proofread your stuff. Thank you, Jim. And I'm looking at my notes that I sent to Jim, and he expects that I proofread my stuff, and he's going to just drop it right there in the. So anyway, proofread your stuff, people, and I will try and follow my own advice. The Ruffian. This is one of my desert island knives. This kind of does it all. That's about a 5-inch bladed clip point, long harpoon clip point, hollow ground, super sharp, 154 cm, incredibly robust knife. You could do it all, but I love this I think of this as a fighting knife personally, but it's not, doesn't have to be. It is, this would be a great camp knife, though. If you wanted a camp knife from Hogtooth, he's got a couple other options that are a little less, stabby, that are more, more designed for wood chores and that kind of thing. But Matt Chase of Hogtooth Knives is a former Marine scout sniper and has experience in combat, and is just an interesting dude, and has used knives in the field. I'm not saying like in the commando sort of way, but he knows what a good knife is. He's also a hunter, and he lives in the middle of the mountains in Massachusetts somewhere, and Yeah, man. So anyway, he knows knives, and his knives are amazing. And I even busted out this one. I want to show this off again tonight. The sub hilt fighter. All right, for emotional support today, my emotional support knife was I was gonna say the old, but it's not old, it's brand new. The Lusahatchee Jack. Brand new to me. This one has that gorgeous orange bone, and then that interesting, almost looks dirty. Uh, the jigging, not jigging. Yeah, the jigging is a dragon scale pattern, and then what darkens it, I don't know what it is, but it does kind of look dirty. So it's interesting, but I'm loving this knife. I love that blade shape. Very British, very much like an English Barlow shaped clip point blade there, with that steep descending straight clip and the big belly and the point down low. This is a great utility cutter with that point just going right where you need it without having to change your wrist angle much. And also it just zips through material. But great walk and talk. This one has a stop pin. You can tell when you close a knife immediately if it's a stop pin knife or if it's stopping using the kick. And this one uses that sharpening notch there, and a stop pin nestles right in that notch, and you'll never get blade wrap. So beautiful, beautiful knife. I love Rosecraft blades, and I'm so happy. As soon as I saw that the Lusahatchee Jack was back out, I got one immediately. I was worried, fear of loss, you know what I mean? Because last time it sold out so quickly. So this is what I had on me. Lately, emotional support has been coming not in the shape of a flipper, but more in the shape of a slip joint. And every once in a while, you'll see a nice big knife. But this is what I had on me. The Ruffian, great knife. The Swiss Army 1 by Victorinox, and the Tiger by Emerson. What were you guys carrying? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. I'm going to put this away, and I'm going to put another feature knife out there just randomly. Look at that. Oh, I love this thing. Christopher Dilzer, nice to have you here, sir. Leatherman Surge, a Victorinox fruit knife, and a lighter. Oh, I like it. I like it. That Victorinox fruit knife, was it dressed up for Libre fighting? I love that thing. My best one, the one that I tricked out the best, I don't know where it is. I lost it. I have no idea where it is. It used to live in the car, and then I brought it out for something, and I hope it's in some jacket I forgot I've worn. Not Legal says the Fox brand pepper spray is also a great EDC. The cone fogger model is especially awesome compared to the stream version. Okay. Fox is 5.3 million heat units as opposed to most others at 2 million. Jeez, man. I always think about the wind. Like, you got to be careful, right? I know a lot of them shoot out in strong streams, so you don't have to worry too much about that, but still. Or fog of conflict, spraying it on yourself by accident. But they've pretty much figured out the design so that you're not going to do that. Have a Knife Day says, I work on screen printing equipment. I try to do as much doing repairs with what I carry in my EDC loadout. That's cool. I had a friend back in New York who worked in a big screen printing place, and they did giant signs that you see on the sides of buildings and stuff like that. That's cool. The Budget Guy says, I want to get a Victorinox Ranger grip. Love the feel and size of them. Okay. I always thought that I never liked them. I always thought they looked kind of like, why are you trying to do that? Like, just stick to what you're good at. And now that I'm into them, I'm like, maybe I do want to try out some of the different Victorinox stuff. Do I have one? I don't. I have a Wenger. Oh, it's upstairs. But anyway, it sort of represents that kind of thing. It's like a different kind of Wenger. It's not a Swiss Army knife style knife. So yeah, I'm interested in some of these other kind of models. Dave says tools on that Swiss Army knife include large blade, small blade, screwdriver, Phillips, saw. Okay, pliers. All right, all scissors, fish scaler, and metal file. Oh, very nice. Oh, etc. Okay, so it's a chunker. It's a big, wide one. Yeah, if it's got the pliers. Now, I love the awl. I love the scissors, of course. The big blades are great, and I like when they have the big and the small blades. Chris Corliss, nice to have you here, Chris. Evening, everyone. Today, I had an Emerson custom folder. Ooh, sir, called the Paradox. Which one is the Paradox? Is that some crazy recurve Tonto thing? Let me know which one that is. The Paradox. A Victorinox Super Tinker, and I've always got a stainless steel zebra pen. Those zebra pens, I know exactly which one you're talking about. Those are great, and they're the perfect size too. They're smaller and they fit in like a moleskin without protruding too much. Those are great. I love those pens. Robert Douglas says, "Gotta head out, smack the like and later, junkies." Robert, have a great night. Have a great weekend. I hope it's relaxing and good. Take care, Robert. Not legal in California says my girlfriend has been carrying the Emerson Persian since maybe 2008. It was $200 at the time, but well worth it. It is held up so well being carried in the waistband. Okay, not legal. I am the Emerson Persian is one of those, I don't want to say grail knife, but it's up there. It's one of those knives that has always gotten away. It's the knife that got away. And your lady love has one. Well, good for her. I'm glad. You know, she's in good hands with that. That's for sure. This old sword says, and you for sure. Also, this old sword says it's probably a Swiss champ under another name, since also has a magnifying glass. Okay. All right. Yeah. And I think there's something about the awl. If the awl has the sewing eye, then it's from 1996 and beyond or something like that. There are different ways to age or to date these things. Edgy American Para 3 CTS XHP with advanced weapons technology scales. America. Yes, sir. I love advanced weapons technology. I mean, I only have their mini griptilian scales on my mini grip, but I love them. And they also their main bread and butter is like making stuff for sniper rifles, which is also cool. But what else did you have? Oh, Para 3. Get me a Para 3. But I love CTS XHP. Budget Guy says, picked up a Wenger Ranger 56 Chris. Wenger brand stuff is cool. Okay. Wenger Ranger 56. I don't know what this Chris Wenger. I don't know what this is. Please explain. I need you guys to help me out because I'm not getting that. So please explain. Who is this guy? Who is this David Wegner or Wegner? Does it have anything to do with the old school Swiss Army knife brand? I'm just curious, since that's what we're talking, or we have been glancing around. Fernando says, I got a new knife this week, the CH Knives BZ Skull Knife, bronze titanium, really sharp and cool knife. That sounds cool. CH Knives. We've given one away here, and we have another one to give away that Dave has donated. Oh, here we go. Oh, dude. Okay. Thank you, Jim, by the way. Much appreciated. Oh, this is cool. The Wagner Ranger 56. Oh, that's cool. And I love the old school can opener and great looking saw. And is that an awl? Yeah, I see an awl and a screwdriver. Dude, I love it. But I thought they were out of business, or are they still around as a brand but now owned by Victorinox? I know they had some sort of unholy alliance happening there, but curious what that is. Splitting Slices says, today's carry, the Hogtooth, here, let me illustrate so you all know. The Hogtooth, the Knife Junkie Nova 1, the Cold Steel Recon 1 Spear Point, Off-Grid All-Day Necker, and Old Timer 123 OT in JO Ventures Outdoor Slip. Okay, the Old Timer, I'm becoming interested in old timers, especially the American-made ones. O2, because I have a sweet one over here. What is the 123 OT? Is that a oh, okay. Shoot, it's upstairs. Everything's upstairs tonight, but I have an old timer that is really sweet that I've shown off recently, and it's old new stock basically. I put edges on all the blades, but it's really nice. Besides the fact that they shipped it dull as the day is long, the rest of the knife is really sweet, and I put my own edge on it. So now I'm curious about them and Schrade, their American made stuff. Not Legal says Swiss Army knife steel stays sharp a long time. Also, in my experience, I would agree. I take my time sharpening once and never have to sharpen again for a long time. Yeah, if you strop it up, zip it over the strop a few times. Ooh, nice. Oh, that's nice, man. Thank you, Jim. Old timer 123 OT Pioneer traditional fold. Okay, so this is like half of a how much is it? $20. Oh, I'm getting one. No, so that's half of a traditional folding hunter. You know, the folding hunter has that same shaped handle, is that same large size, and has a clip point and then that skinning blade. Which to me, and this is speaking as someone who has never once skinned an animal, never seemed like the right shape for a skinning blade. It almost seemed like the clip point was better, but what the hell do I know? Blade Ogre says, carrying the Cold Steel Colossus. That's another one that got away. The GEC English Jack, the Tactile Maverick, the Buck Sprint Ops Pro, the CRKT Clever Girl, the Case Clasp Knife. That's a sweet knife. The Smith & Sons Spur, the HHA. I do this every time. Hardcore Hardware MILF, the LT Wright Knives Switchback, Bear & Sons Folding Hunter. Okay, so that's one of those knives I'm talking about with the two blades, and the Sleazy Ogre, which we happen to know was made by oh, senior moment. All right, you'll tell me who made that. Uh, uh, Brass Brigade. Jason. This old sword says, "Me carry today." Me carry today. But here's the thing. He says "me carry today," sounding like a caveman, and then he launches into some of the most sophisticated knives, like this first one, a beauty, the Prometheus Design Works Terrain 365 Invictus ATB in Terravantium. Terravantium is a material that we mine off of other planets. We destroy indigenous populations on these other planets to get Terravantium so that Dave's knife won't rust. Just kidding, Dave. Terravantium. I just love the name. Protect Boker Quaken Burnley. Very nice knife. Iterated and reiterated multiple times, but this is the automatic version made by Protec. So probably the best of the Burnley Quakens. Riot Mini Crossroads, a beauty. That's what's his name. I love that knife. The Microtech Stitch Auto, the Reich Thor 7, and Ace Beam Terminator M1 Torch. Wow, Terminator. All right, Stitch, and the Mini Crossroads. Kirby Lambert was the name I was trying to pull out there. Man, Dave, what can I say? Beautiful, but wait. No fixed blades today, huh? Do you see that Cones Craft today with that cool pattern? Oh my God, this double-edged melee dagger thing with incredible treatment. I think it was heat treat something on the blade. Amazing. Hello, everyone, says 1 Minute Knife Review. 1 Minute Knife Review. Hello to you, sir. And it's very nice to have you here. Not Legal says, I kind of want the Randall Survival model that was taken into space just because. Hey, I do too, because it's a Randall. But there are other Randalls I like better. I'm not a hollow handle guy, but I wouldn't kick it. out of bed for eating crackers, as they used to say. Pete Davidson says, been stuck at home all week, so my carry has been slim. Brass Swiss Army knife compact. Ooh, that's nice. Brass Zippo, brass Olight, brass big one pen. Is that big one pen? ZDP Endura with brass and Knipex pliers. Okay, home repairs, I get it, but all of the brass, very matchy, Pete. I gotta respect that. That's pretty cool. And brass, I am unearthing since I've been carrying Zippos. I know I have an old brass Zippo from high school, so that's the 80s in my chest over there. So I'm gonna crack that out and start using my old brass Zippo. I love brass Zippos. I don't know why I haven't unearthed it yet. Ketmuk says, today I carried the LT Wright Camp Mook, the Giant Mouse Ace Grand, what a cool knife, and the AK Advanced Knife Bro Stump Lifter. I gotta get me a stump lifter. Yes, indeed. In green or yellow. All right, let me talk about this. Let me talk about the giveaway knife for you gentlemen junkies coming up. I'm giving away this Bowie knife here by Off Grid Knives. This is the Cayman XXL, and it is a beast. You know this knife. You want this knife. But the only way you can get this knife from this here channel is, well, there's actually two ways. But the freest way is to become a member on Patreon. You become a gentleman junkie, you're automatically in the running to win this super cool knife. I mean, just look at it. This thing is cool. The other way is, if you don't want to do that and you want to get this knife, consider ordering it through our affiliate link, theknifejunkie.com/offgrid. And then, we get a couple of pennies. But those pennies add up. I am not someone who walks by a penny on the street when he sees one because it's just a penny. I pick it up and say, hey, this is the harbinger of things to come. So always pick up that penny. Who cares who sees you? In New York, I remember it was like, oh man, you don't want girls to see you picking up a penny. It's like, I do. I want a girl to be like, oh, that's a sensible man. Well, there you go. Sensible. So yeah, anyway, you will love this knife. It is incredible. This is the Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway knife, which is coming up January 18th. That's 1 week from this very same night. And this will be going out to some lucky guy or gal, but probably guy. And I'm excited. I'm excited to get this in someone's hands because I can't have two of these. And it's been burning a hole in my, not burning a hole in my pocket, but it's like it's there and I really want to use it. Okay, so there you have it. Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway knife. Pete David says, got brass in pocket. I'm going to use it. Okay, Chrissy. Great song. I love that song. Brass in Pocket by the Pretenders. 1 Minute Knife Review and a great video, by the way. Had Spyderco Smock and Arcona Nettle. Deep cut. Nice. F in pocket today. I have the Arcona Nettle. I'm not sure if it's the F. It's the blue one with the denim micarta. And it was a gift from the great and powerful Levon. It was unexpected and greatly appreciated. And it's great knife. And I really like his designs. What's his name? It'll come to me. He's Ukrainian or Russian. Now I don't remember which one. Geez, what the hell is his name? Braganets, Ivan Braganets. Justin E, nice to have you here, Justin. Today I carried a Kershaw live wire with gray handle. Very nice. I remember when the live wire came out. That was in the first year where the blade shapes changed and the swedges got really cool. Craig Vincent says, today was sporting the Cold Steel Carve, the AD10, the medium Voyager clip point, nice, the XL counterpoint, and Tylite Schrade LB7. What is that? In belt sheath, Manix 2, and Shaman. and Rough Rider Marlin Spike. Very nice. Craig, with that loadout, I know how you were using thinking of using the Rough Rider Marlin Spike. Cool thing about a Marlin Spike is the spike locks out and it makes an incredible self-defense weapon. Look at that. It's just right in the stomach. You got 20 minutes to get to the hospital. I had a friend in high school whose dad suggested that. He's like, boys, you're getting older now and you might get accosted, you might get in fights. I highly recommend you carry an ice pick. And if someone gives you trouble, I mean like bad trouble, I mean, stick it in their stomach and then tell them they have 20 minutes before they go into septic shock or whatever I don't know. He said something like that. And at the time I was like, that seems totally reasonable. Yeah. Former Jehovah's Witness priest he was. Hero Sticks says, evening all. Hero Sticks, nice to have you here, man. Carried the premium Vosteed Nightshade in black micarta and copper. Oh, that's nice. And the Boker Nesme Pro Fixie in the same dress. Ooh, nice. Another matchy. Happy pair. Love it. Not Legal says, that emotional support knife almost reminds me of certain Schotten Morgan knives. I wish I still had mine. One of the sharpest knives out of the box I've ever had, other than my Almars. Okay, before we move on, first of all, are those original Almars or Almars from the 80s, 90s? I'd love to have an old Almar knife, especially fixed blade. I don't remember what it was called, but it was a short, a small fixed blade knife that Topps did their version of a couple of years ago. I guess they had a limited license to, because they sold out like very quickly and then they never returned. But also, what I was going to ask is, the Schotten Morgans that you're talking about, were those ones made by GEC, or who is OEMing the Schotten Morgans that you have that are really sharp? Chris Corliss, excuse me. Chris Corliss says, I can send a photo to your Instagram, please do, of the Emerson custom folder. It's a big clip point. I think only 2 have been sold so far. No clue how many Ernie had made. Oh, man, that's cool, Chris. Nicely done. This adder bites. Nice to have you here, this adder. Hello, he says. Well, hello to you, sir. Nice to have you. I like your name. 1 Minute Knife Review says, okay, went and grabbed ProTech Mortex in MagnaCut to flip for the show. Had to class it up a bit. Okay, very nice. I like that. I like knowing that there are people out there, yourself included, who are, finding the perfect knife to flip while listening, or sharpening, or stropping, or cleaning, or doing the dishes, or whatever you're doing. But lots of people doing knife-oriented things this time of night and listening to Knife Talk. And I like that. Catface Enthusiast says, I got a Buck Sidekick made by Wenger. Oh, very nice. I'm interested. All right, this is a good segue. I'm interested in other kind of multi-tools that aren't Swiss Army knives and that aren't, plier-based tools. Justin E says, almost forgot that I had a cheap Civivi with me and I thought I might be able to sell, but people's plans changed. Their curiosity went from peak to weak. That's pretty funny, man. Better luck next time, man. It happens to the best of us. Terravantium, says the budget guy, and Tarot Tough sound like it would make a fun knife. Yeah, no kidding. 2 tarots. So this thing has piqued my curiosity, and Rake in general, Ruike. It looks like Ruik. Some people say Reich. I think it's Rake. But anyway, we all know them. They came out not that long ago. They're the knife brand around Phoenix. They also OEM Boker's little multi-tool. Come on, focus. Called what the hell was that called? Well, anyway, you can tell it looks kind of familiar. All right, I'm going to wait for this to focus. I'm not sure why it ain't. There we go. All right, so this thing is here. This is a mini champ that's the size of a classic. So I bought this rake thinking I would replace it the keychain knife. But already this mini champ is already pushing it. Like, I'm not knives. I always end up taking them off because I don't want to have too much weight hanging from my transmission. It's something that, or from the key. It's something that nothing fancy, always ingrained in me. Don't carry too much crap on your keychain. But I do like to have some sort of knife. But anyway, there it is, size wise. But I'm digging this thing. It's really nice. It's got a great snap, great action. It's 12C27 on this hollow ground drop point blade. Very attractive. You got G10 handles. It's a 3-layer slip joint, and that first layer is the blade. Second layer is an excellent pair of scissors. Unlike the Victorinox, which you actuate against the spring, which gives it base, if you will. If we were doing jiu-jitsu, or you know what I mean, it gives it it doesn't move, a solid base. This one has it on the back, and it's fine, and it gets its spring action from it gets its spring tension from this arm actually coming from the back spring there. It works. I've seen it in videos on the larger models, and the whole thing kind of moves a little bit, but it works well here. Great snap on that. And then there's a third tool that's really excellent here. It's got a cap lifter, and this little notch is for bending wire. And then here it's got a very sharp cord cutter. It's a V-ground cord cutter there. And then a pry bar / screwdriver. So this little thing, it's nice and light. This would be a great knife, a great fifth pocket knife, or a great knife for someone who wants a little slip joint, who wants a lot of utility, but isn't used to carrying too much in their pockets. It's small, but very capable, and it's that perfect length where it's not going to bother you or I don't know about you. It doesn't bother me. I'm pretty uptight about this. It doesn't bother me banging around in the pocket, whether it's oriented north to south. By the way, the little fobs help them stay oriented north to south, or whether it falls sideways and is going, against the grain of my thigh, if you will, which bugs me on a bigger knife. But this one, not so much. I really like this. I got a larger version. They have three sizes. This small, it's like 70 millimeter. 70 millimeter, I think. And then it goes up. There's one that's medium size, and then there's a large one, and the large one has a locking blade and a 3.4-inch blade, I believe. Justin E says, "What's that bad boy weigh?" I don't know. About the same as a Swiss champ. Let's see, or that's totally unscientific. But I don't know. It's light though. So having it on the keychain is not, or not putting it on the keychain is not necessarily about the weight. It's even though I said that about the hanging part, it is also pretty. It's a bit longer. It's like 10 millimeters longer than this Swiss champ. So this is 60 and this is 70. This is 70 here. So great little thing. I like it. I wonder why we don't hear more about it, because the bigger tools have, more, I should say the bigger knives like this have a lot more tools, and definitely giving, I would say, Swiss Army knife a run for their money. But Victorinox, again, is a classic, and people know it. People are not threatened by it. People recognize it immediately everywhere, and they know it as a useful tool. The rake knife looks more like a knife, so we'll see. The budget guy says, "Forgot my pocket check. Currently no pockets, but sea snake. Nice." Who's Josh Branson? Be up custom lettering. Oh, okay. So the sea snake from Mike Emler and CJRB, or what is it, Artisan, but this gentleman Josh Branson, Be Up custom lettering, put something on it. Did he put your logo? You got a cool looking logo. I like it with the pole arm there. Pretty cool. Sword XXXY, nice to have you here, Sword. Had a Waxahachie in the right front pocket and a LeGriff as a necker. That Waxahachie is an awesome knife. We talked about this last week. What color handle scales do you have on that? I have the natural, and I've always intended to to dye them maroon, but it was a gift from my brother-in-law, so I decided to just keep it. Okay, I have a squall. Okay. 1 Minute Knife Review says, I have a squall, I think its name, by Luck Knives in Terravantium. Very cool. Luck Knives, that's Mike. I'm spacing his last name. Used to be NAF Sergeant, and he's making such cool knives. So very cool about that. He's doing customs over on IG. When I saw squall, I thought it was squale, and I was thinking of this, which is if I had a Grail folder, it would be this. This is the Boker version of it, but it would be a custom Charles Marlowe squale. So that's what I thought when you first wrote that down. But a Luck Knives squall is also super cool, and obviously very rare. He's new at the game and killing it. His stuff is beautiful, and that squall is a nice looking knife. He's been doing interesting things with carving on his blades, not carving, but milling. Kilkenny, nice to have you here, Kilkenny. Rocking my Zumwalt. Very good. I'm glad. I hope you like it. What a cool blade shape that knife has. Thinking I should become a gentleman junkie. Well, maybe you should, sir. If you do, you stand a chance to win. Oh, yeah. Look at that beauty. So Jim the other day sends me a picture of a really cool knife, and he puts in the Ray line, that's a knife. And knowing that would get my attention, I clicked on it, and it's this beautiful knife with this gorgeous wooden handle and kind of a Bowie blade, but engraved guard, engraved pommel, and just, man, it was stunning. And so I responded, saying as such, and he's like, "Too bad you can't have it. It's it was made by AI, and it was an AI knife, and it looked real. I thought it was a real photograph, and it was so cool. And I think maybe I need to mess around with a little AI to produce some cool knives, because it had a couple of things. Like once he told me that, I was like, oh yeah, you can tell that's AI, because that pommel, like, that's not something a human would do. There's some little tiny things, but I never would have guessed. It was pretty cool. Eugene Krabs says, "Hey y'all." Well, Eugene, hello to you, sir. Carried my GEC 21 in red and black rich light that I got myself late as a late Christmas gift. Okay, so this is the Bull Buster. This is the large Sodbuster model from GEC, and man, so cool. I have one from a run from, I don't know, 2019 or something like that, and it's beautiful. Congratulations on that late Christmas gift. Well deserved, sir. Pete Davidson says, try a butane insert for your Zippo. I do. Great for low maintenance and windy conditions. Okay, so this is what I've done with my Zippos. I have a butane, that butane torch thing for one of them. It's got a Varga girl on it. My brother gave it to me in high school. And then I busted out my pipe lighter. I got a pipe lighter, when I was in high school or college, for lighting pipes. And I've been smoking a tobacco pipe and got that out, and that's awesome. But with the brass, I'm going to put I'd like to get a brass insert for the brass. I don't know if they make them. Anyway, yeah, Zippos. I bought one at Walmart not too long ago. I ended up giving it to my brother-in-law because I was like, I don't need this. Why did I buy this? But I thought it was brass, and it was like brass colored. Weird. So Not Legal says the Shot and Morgans were basically the higher end version of Queen knives we sold. Oh, interesting. So I thought Queen was the actual manufacturer, but now I'm not sure. I wish I had them to look. Okay, so probably okay. Was my totally uneducated. I know that at some point, like in modern recent history, Schott and Morgan, the brand, has OEM'd knives, and I know that they've done it through GEC. But I guess the ones you had were probably the original ones. I knew that Schott and Morgan weren't originally GECs, but interesting. The plot thickens. Oof, all of a sudden, it's like I have menopause. Oh, I got this hot flash. Woo! Ugh. I don't think I ate enough for dinner, actually. I think that's what it is. It's caffeine on a somewhat empty stomach. Eugene Crab says, have you ever looked at Swizza multi-tools? No, only in pictures. Their tools look stamped. And maybe all of these tools are stamped, but they don't look, I don't know, they look cheap to me. Eugene, you tell me, are they worth looking at? Should I? Let me know, because I will, just to for you all. No, just to broaden my horizons and to look past Swiss Army knife like I'm doing with these here. Le Signature. Oh, actually, those look kind of nice. Yeah. The ones on the right seem to have the bigger opening hole, and then there's nail necks. Oh, these are kind of... All right. All right, well, maybe I will. Thank you, Jim, for pulling those up. Appreciate that. And yeah, those look pretty cool, actually. My whole thing about saying they look cheap was recently when I was doing a little video research on the rakes. Someone pulled out a Swizza, and I was like, oh, I don't know how that looks to me. 5-Door, good to have you here, 5-Door. Greetings, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Was listening on the road. Umnumzan and GEC 49 and Feel Good Jack snuck into my back pocket. I put the that's funny. I put the GEC or the Jack Wolf knives in the back pocket too, to continue the molding of the leather. But tell me, what's the GEC 49? I'm trying to remember what that one was. Loyal Group, nice to see you here, sir. Good evening. Were you thinking of the Sear? Yes, that is exactly what I was thinking of. We were talking about Almar knives that I would love to have. Yeah, the Sear. And then Tops did a version of it. I'd love to have that. I dragged my feet on it. Oh, I'll get that later. But that's the thing. Sometimes companies, they just make a knife and then it goes away, or the company goes away. And then so jump on it when you can. Bangkok Mark, nice to have you here, Bangkok. Howdy to all live from Thailand. How cool, man. Just found the channel. Well, welcome. It's great to have you here, sir. And since you're in Thailand, not since you're in Thailand, since you're new, I guess, I want to show off a cool knife, and this is a great time to do it. To welcome Bangkok Mark. Nice to have you here. So I was going to show you this. We were talking about hogtooth knives before. This is 2.5 years old at this point. This was a true labor for Matt, who had never done a sub-hilt fighter before. But man, did he do an incredible job. I love those Quillians. They're made from wrought iron from a Goodfellow Bridge in Boston. That's black micarta. Sub-hilt is of that same wrought iron. And then I bumped into him at Blade Show 2021, or was it 2022, I guess, getting the Stag, and he found such a perfect piece. Great match. And then, of course, his magnificent forge weld Damascus forge weld steel here. It's 15N20 and 1095, and it's double-edged all the way on both sides up to the ricasso. Razor freaking sharp. This is my dueling knife, so when I'm called to protect my honor, or the family's honor, this is the knife I use. I'm going to see if I can. Yeah, here it is. So here is a little piece of the steel. Let me see if I can get it to focus. Let's see. All right. So let's come on now. All right. You might not be able to see, but all right. If you could see, oh, there you go. You can kind of see it a little bit if I do that. So this is unetched, and this is basically a tile So when Matt was making this knife, one of his processes is to make, this multi layer, I don't know, 100 and however many folds, and then chop it up into squares and then put them next to each other, weld them together next to each other, and then forge weld it in the forge with kind of sheathed in other steel, and then grinding through that steel and and making the final blade. So you're getting, so he did, it's a masterwork. I love the thing. I don't have, certainly don't have any other knife that comes close to this level of workmanship and well, frankly, I didn't pay for it. I don't know. I know it was very expensive. I don't know how expensive, but a lot went into it. And I know I was talking to Matt during the making and sort of hearing about some of his struggles. But he's an old Marine, not old. He's younger than I am, but he's a retired Marine. So it's not like he was whining. He was just like, "Oh, we'll make this happen. I just don't know how yet." Pete says, before I realized what I had, I carried an Almar Seal, an S30V in a shoulder rig. All right, you're now hero status. That thing was so sharp and handled beautifully. It was made in the USA. Pete, how cool is it? Well, let me just tell you that I think it's cool that you spent time walking around with an Almar Seal in a shoulder rig. That's very cool. Reminds me of the movie with Peter Coyote, the highest art. Not legal in California says that rake you showed looks really good. The Swiss Army knives normally had the best small scissors I've seen, but that one you showed almost looks like it may have better. Yes, with the spring, that's the thing. The spring is much more robust, and even though you can buy Swiss Army knife springs and replace them, this is a tougher design. The one thing is, though, it is a little weird how it's not stabilized. I'm going to show these both next to each other. That's why I'm looking down here. These tiny little scissors. All right. So here, this is the difference. So you see on the Swiss Army knife on top, the Victorinox, it's got the little tiny thin spring there that you can replace if it breaks. But this has a solid arm of steel that connects to this back spring, and it acquires its springiness from the springiness here. But these scissors are pretty tough and they cut really well. So I'm very excited about the rake thing, and I'm surprised. I mean, have they been around a bit? I know, like I said, they did the Boker multi-tool, but now that they're doing it under their own shingle, why have we not heard much about this? I'm curious. Five Door says, per the internet, that rake is 1.83 ounces. Thank you, sir. Thank you, internet. Much appreciated. Sword says, got the natural handle scales on the Waxahachie. Makes it look less threatening when you need to use it. Yes, I agree. It's kind of a cheerful, it's like mint chocolate chip ice cream. And we know how non-threatening ice cream is in the hands of, say, our president, who, anyway. Happy Haptics EDC says, what up, Bob? Well, Happy Haptics, it's nice to see you here, man. I was tuning in earlier and believe I heard you mention that GEC OEM'd knives for Schott and Morgan. It was actually Queen that was making them while Bill Howard was there, owner of GEC. Yes, yeah, no, I know that. But I think like within the last 5 years, I do believe GEC did some for Schott and Morgan. I'm pretty darn sure about it. And maybe it was because Bill Howard had that Queen legacy. I could be mistaken, though. Matthew, nice to have you here, sir. How's it going, fellas? He says. How's it going with you, man? I saw some recent Instagram posts, like maybe 2 or 3 days ago, with some crazy sort of, I don't know what you call it, but like Horizon Damascus. It looked beautiful. Splitting Slices says, Bob, check out the Leatherman free series of multi-tools. They have a typical They have typical knife scales and not plier based. Oh, okay, cool. Are they chisel ground blades? Just curious. Matthew says, "Wow, that's a beautiful sub hilt. Thank you, thank you. It is it is the pride of my knife collection for sure." And I like to say I designed it. I didn't. Bob Lovelace designed it. I just decided what materials I wanted, and that had a incredible journeyman smith and friend make it. So that has nothing to do with me, unfortunately. Unfortunately, I'm just the guy with good taste and beer budget. Bangkok Mark says, I think Jim Bowie would be proud to carry that bad boy. Well, thank you. I will take that as I would agree. Speaking of Jim Bowie, here's one that I rarely show off, but this is going to sound corny, integral to my life because it's my closet knife. And I think this is the knife I know how to grab in the dark when things go bump at night. And it's the Laredo Bowie. It's an old one with the beautiful leather. I wish Cold Steel would go back to leather. Man, I do like their sheaths with the molded plastic, and it's great for a lot of knives, but not this knife. You don't put this knife in Kydex. You don't put, I have the other one too, the bigger one. What the hell is that called? And it just feels weird in Kydex. It's fine, but anyway, I love this thing. Eugene Krabs says, to answer the prompt, I need all this EDC for my soul. Okay, fair enough. I talk about emotional support knives. People can have emotional support pens and torches, etc. And I'm saying torch totally unironically. Not legal in California says, I had the Almar Shiva and the Sear in fixed blades in both sizes, and the Sear folders, in both sizes, as well as some others I had. All numbers 187 out of, that's fucking badass. Out of 200 knives I wish I never sold. So all of his Almars were serial numbered 187, which is the police code for murder. And I know that from Snoop Dogg. That's pretty cool, man. I love that. That is pretty sweet. And I remember, what was it? It couldn't have been Sharper Image, but it was some catalog that used to come to the house when I was a kid. But my brother got some, maybe it was, I don't know, something military maybe. But I remember seeing all the Sear knives, and they had them with serrations and without, and they had some folding versions. And what the hell magazine was that came to my house in the 80s that had those Almar knives? Because my father was not into that stuff. It was my brother. Every once in a while would get Soldier of Fortune, and we got some catalogs, but what was it? You could just and they were made in Seki City, Japan, and they were beautiful, and they had bolsters and shiny black micarta and the whole 9 yards. Five Door says GEC 49 is a great little borderline tiny single sheep foot. Oh, nice. Okay. I have two of the tiny GECs, like the 6 and the something else. Also tiny. Happy Haptics EDC says Shot and Morgan came first. They faced hard times after the war and ended up firing 5 of their most skilled workers, all who eventually came together to form Queen City Cutlery Company. Oh, cool. Okay. Thank you, sir. So Shot and Morgan came first. Wait, can you go back to that, Jim? Just if I read it again, it will absorb. Maybe. Maybe. Shot and Morgan came first. They faced hard times after the war, presumably 2, ended up firing 5 of their most skilled workers, all of whom eventually came together to form Queen City Cutlery Company. Okay. That's cool. Thank you, sir. All right. Eugene says New Cold Steel Republic has a leather sheath, I believe. Yes, it does. And it's a made in America. They're going to be doing more made in America. The Bally song, I believe, is made in America. That's coming out this year. Pete says the shoulder rig works great under a jacket or shirt. I prefer it to neck carry. Yeah. Is it the Bastinelli shoulder rig, or are you using like a Galco or a DeSantis, like a It's like a firearm thing. What is that? Bangkok Mark says, I have a stunning badass Bowie made by a Thai custom knife maker. Blade from recycled chainsaw blades. HRC 59. Very nice, man. I'd love to see that. Love to see that. Chainsaw blades. Yeah, I bet those are good and hardenable. I also bet you could do some pretty cool looking Damascus if you do a canister Damascus or a boat Damascus with those, whatever you call those, canister canoe Damascus. Splitting Slices says, when Queen closed several years ago, the Cooper Cutlery Company, Winchester, Ohio, bought some factory assets and the Schotten Morgan brand name. Okay, Cooper has made the last few drops the past 2 years. Cooper. Was Cooper the guys who were making the pot knife with the pot leaf handle? Was that them? Hero Stick says Bud K catalog, maybe. Yeah, but Bud K, didn't they sell like a little bit cheaper stuff? Maybe not. It's probably Bud K. Yeah. Loyal Group says, oh, excuse me, guys. I totally agree with you. Many of the cold steel Bowies and even Sog Bowies cry out for some nice leather. I agree. Nothing wrong with the synthetic stuff. They just need leather. Yeah, if you have a Bowie here with faux Cocobolo wood handles, I don't know if it's actual wood or just faux all through, or if it's fake wood or real wood made to look like Cocobolo. I just remember it was called faux Cocobolo. But yeah, you don't put that in plastic. You put that in leather. Hero Stick says, anyone handled the Vosteed Griffin yet? What a hawkbill. Yeah, I know, man. That thing's pretty hawkbilly. The Griffin. I have not. I have not gotten a new Vosteed in quite some time. Got my hands on some cold steel Tonto blanks. How did that happen, Pete? That's pretty cool. Are they actual genuine cold steel? That'd be cool to see. Speaking of Bowies, got this one out also. The 1917. This thing is so cool. Now, I don't think there's a real reason why he chose 1917 as a date. I think he was just thinking of Frontier. This is the Frontier Bowie, and I guess things weren't totally settled then, even though we were off at fighting in wars, foreign wars. The West wasn't totally settled, I guess. But this one is interesting. This one and the Wild West Bowie here, I had to rub the handles with a cloth and isopropyl rubbing alcohol to get. These are both made by Windlass Cutlery in India. Great knives, but the whatever the dye was that they had in these handles just would come off on your hand. It was like in gloppy. So I ended up doing a combination of kind of sanding them a little bit, but also rubbing them with rubbing alcohol until the rags came back clean. This one took a while. But besides that, these Indian made knives are really awesome, man. They're really, really worth the shekels. What is it? The Western Bowie, I think, is like, they're both in the low 100s. I think they're like 125 or something. But if you're on the fence and you're not a gentleman junkie and you're not in the running for one of these Bowies, I would definitely say go for. See, look at the size difference. This is definitely more of a combat knife size. That 7.5 inch blade, and these are more like frontier fighting, butchering, frontiering blades there. So yeah, what I was trying to get at is if you're not in the running for that knife, you might consider getting one of these knives. I feel like everyone needs to have a fixed blade knife, and why not make it a Bowie? I'm saying it over and over. Bowie, it's coming. It still feels and sounds weird to me, but I want to try and be a little more authentico, and that's how I'm going to do it. So when I say I'm going down to Mexico, I'm going to do that too, and I'll say, It's Roberto DeMarco when I say my name. Pete Davidson says, when Camilla's shut down, just need to pull my finger out and put a handle on them. Oh, nice. Oh, okay, cool. Pull your finger out. Very nice. That's with those cold steel blanks. Wait, I was going to show you something. Oh, yeah. I almost went the whole show without showing this. Absolute beauty that just showed up this week. This is the new Jack Wolf Knives Sharpshooter Jack. And this is the second run of the first release. So this is the sharpshooter that was released over a year ago, the very first Jack Wolf knife. And there's been some updates here. We see it's a triple fluted bolster up front. We see a long pull instead of the nail neck. On this one, we've got the DLC coating and the black anodized bolsters. You can also get an all black titanium version, a raw jigged titanium version, and then another form, or maybe two other carbon fibers. This is the Arctic Storm. Absolutely beautiful. I have the Arctic Storm in the same knives, or knives. I guess you would say in the same knives. So not plural, but possessive. A full locking version. So both of these are Arctic Storm carbon fiber. I believe the one on the bottom looks darker because it's with the dark bolsters and the dark blade, but when you block those off, they look the same. So it's kind of a trick of the eye. But again, just outstanding walk and talk. We are spoiled rotten now by Ben Belkin and his walk and talk. I mean, it is so I would put this at a firm 8. This is on that totally arbitrary pull scale that we all like to quote. I would put this at 8. It is a very, very stout pull, and I would say, yeah, stouter than this, and this is great. This is great. So, but I certainly don't mind it. I love a strong pull, and that is a strong and stout and sturdy pull. That is not closing while you're using it. And if it's closing while you're using it, you're not using it properly anyway. But man, look at that. If you like clip points, if you like gun stock knives, here's a cool one. I would highly recommend you go check this out. But I recommend all of the Jack Wolf knives because they are exceptional. And he doesn't say who OEMs them. I think he's got a sort of deal with them not to reveal that somehow. But I think I know who makes them, and I think they make them beautifully. And that is par for the course for who I think is making them. But I don't know, but I'd like to think that I can guess. But Ben's tight-lipped about it, and I think that's part of his deal. So there you go. But I'd like to know. Damn it, I'd like to know. And I think I do know. I think. Splitting Slices says, yes, Cooper in the shakedown crew. Wait. Oh, okay. Cooper, in a shakedown cruise of the refurbished Queen equipment, made several brands of Alpha knives, including Battle Axe and Weed & Co. That's right. I remember the Battle Axe, too. All in an effort to make Shot and Morgans. Okay. So, are they good? Are the Cooper knives good? Refurbished Queen because I got to say, the Battle Axe knives, just from pictures, the shields didn't look like they were so precise, and they didn't look like they fit right. But who knows? Who can tell from a picture? The Knight's Edge, nice to have you here, sir. What's up? He says. Well, how you doing, man? What's up with you? I like your cross swords there. Doug Bowles says, Bob, Cocobolo doesn't absorb oil. That's cool. That's good. That's cool. I would love to get real Cocobolo in my life instead of the faux Cocobolo, but you know what? That'll do until the real thing gets here. I'm trying to think. Do I have real? I do. I do have real cocoa and you're right. It's on my Finch, buffalo tooth, and you're absolutely right about that, because I remember one night going through and oiling, several, fixed blade handles, and then finding I have a couple of GECs with wood, and man, that's funny you say that, because I sort of felt that, like, "Why isn't it?" And I was like, "Must be too hard, or maybe I'm not using the right oil." Interesting. Anyway, Sword says, "Used to carry a cold steel Tonto in a shoulder holster. Too hot to wear a jacket most of the time here in Queensland, Australia." Yeah, I hear that. How do you carry now? In the waistband, with a shirt kind of bloused over? Loyal Group, "I'd rather beat on my Cold Steel Wild West than on something like a collectible W49." Yeah, no doubt. Plus, it's bigger. It's bigger than the W49. I got one of those right here. And here, I'll show you. Here's the W49 that my brother bought in a pawn shop with some creepy, weird, anonymous bone handle and a beaten down. This took serious effort, man, to pound down this brass quillion to make it fit closer. I didn't do it. Whoever had this before, I tried to bend it back, and there's no bending it back without some sort of machinery. All right, but look at the size difference. W49 on top by Western, and the Cold Steel Wild West Bowie by Cold Steel. So yeah, much smaller. I mean, not much smaller, but I'd say actually an inch and a quarter or an inch shorter on the blade. But when you do that, everything all around is shorter. So I'm with you. And also, I mean, these would no doubt you could beat on something pretty well with this knife. But yeah, I would do it with the Cold Steel too. Have a Knife Day says, "I had my Cold Steel Wild West Bowie hot blued. Oh, nice. Looks great, but was crazy expensive process. Hot bluing, huh? Um, is that different from just, obviously it is. Did you try bluing it like with gun bluing that you buy at the gun shop? I did that with some of the 1095 knives I made. And though it's not good if you want to use them for food, which I didn't, other than that, it's a great way to maintain the knife and it looks cool as hell. Pete Davidson says there was also some Microtech Curahi blanks for sale. What? I didn't know Camillus did a fair bit of them of OEM work. I have come to find out. I had no idea. No idea. Certainly not about like Microtech. Pete says, only downside to those blanks is the branding has been ground off. That's fine, man. That's fine. You could do some, God, that's cool. Do some cool stuff with that, especially if you're a handy person. But otherwise, you could find other knife makers to help make your vision come to fruition. Not Legal says, "I still want a sword von Temsky Bowie just because. One day I'll get one." Yes, I have one right over there, and I'm a lucky man. I have a very generous brother who got me that one year. I was like, "Oh my god, I love that knife." Yeah, and you could yes, it's a very very powerful knife. Craig Vincent says, "Bob, is it recommended to clean, buff, shine up a vintage 110 folder? It's a 97, and it's got that I got in a multi-knife exchange." Well, Craig, that is 100% up to you. I personally love the look of tarnished brass. But who knows? Maybe you want to take it all the way back to new and polish it up and then put the tarnish on yourself. I would understand that too. But, um, you know, I, I don't think there's any harm in doing it. But if you want to maintain that sort of vintage look without, I mean, it's going to have the vintage look because the design is a little bit different. I think you probably don't have the rounded off bolsters and stuff. I think it's probably squared off, and there's some other slight differences. But if you want to maintain the look of that, you might not do it. But What I don't like is when brass greens gets green, but that hasn't happened in this case. That usually happens when it's like in a leather case and up next to steel, and that kind of thing could happen. But so I'd say go for it if that's what you're looking for, because a nice shiny old knife is cool as hell. Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Put that patina on yourself. I'm sure you got sweaty palms. We all do from time to time. Sword says, gone to mostly smaller knives like the Waxahachie, the Tamashii, and the Perrin knives, Le Bowie and Le Griffes. The Tamashii, I love this knife. Got mine right here. Bob Terzuola design. And we were talking about Almar, another one from that era, or who started in that era, is Bob Terzuola. And yeah, he is the godfather of the modern tactical knives, especially the modern tactical folder. But oh man, his designs are just so cool. Loyal Group says, if 1997 is vintage, I'm a mummy at this point. I know, man. I know. Hey, you're talking to a mummy, or you're hearing from a mummy too, man. I'm the guy who's like, what do you mean Nirvana is on classic rock? That's like just came out. Not Legal says, hot bluing will be much better than cold bluing, but you have to polish the item very well. Oh, to get that nice high polish. It's basically an advanced form of beautiful rust. Looks better than cold blue. Okay, and therefore probably takes a real skilled hand, and hence why it was so expensive. But yeah, you have a very beautiful knife or firearm, especially, and you want it blued. I guess, yeah, it makes sense to pay the good money to have it done right. To have it done right. All right. Put this beautiful thing away. Now, just looking at it and looking down the bevel, I can see a little bit of wobble. It's not like the cleanest. But then again, this is supposed to emulate a Wild West Bowie, and we have to imagine that those had all sorts of imperfections. So we can't expect everything that comes out of a factory to be perfect. But if you want leather on a cold steel, this is a great option, and I think this is your only option in terms of Bowie knives, unless. Yeah, I think this is it for Bowie knives right here. Unfortunate. Speaking of the type, here's one that I haven't had out in a little while, but I've been the past few days not twirling, but doing carenza with, or just practicing with. And this is the Kudaman molybdenum vanadium Bowie, made with molybdenum. I can never say that word. Let me see if I can say it. Molybdenum vanadium steel, which is a very common steel used in Europe, especially in fixed blades from Spain. I see that a lot. Joker knives, Kudaman and Muela, all use that steel, and to great effect. This knife is awesome. I've used this outside quite a bit, just hacking around. Loyal Group says, Bob, you're a fellow class of 89er, correct? Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I am. Long live the 89. Or no, you know what? Really, it's our generation. We do come from a pretty hardy generation. Not Legal says, you have to hot blue outside, or with a professionally vented setup. The caustic soda and gases are not good. Will burn right through your clothes. That's so funny. When I was a kid, my brother used to, I don't know, when you're little, when you're young and you're a boy, like there's some things are just like, oh my God. And my brother was like, the strongest acid in the world is called caustic soda, and it will burn through it. And I remember, like, you know how you hear people say, I thought quicksand was going to be a much bigger problem. Well, when I was a kid, I thought caustic soda was going to be a much bigger problem. But I haven't run into it in adult life. but I think that might be because I haven't done any hot bluing. CM, nice to have you here, CM. What's up, my knife kings? Just hanging out, being kings. I like that. I like that. Kings. That's when you're a king, you have to sit like this. Like this. Like Conan when he drops into the throne. I'm sorry for this guy. What a great movie, Conan the Barbarian. Truly, truly a great movie. Okay, we have a few minutes left here, and before we dip, I want to pull up, Jim, if you would, CRKT's 2024 lineup, and I want to see if anyone likes any of these. I like CRKT in that they take design chances, and they also work with a lot of designers and do some cool stuff. But the persistence of HCR13, luckily, is giving away to D2, but we'll probably be seeing years and years and years and years and years of D2 also. But here's one. This one is interesting to me not because I think it looks good. I don't actually. I'm not crazy about it. But this Philip Booth is OEM'd by Hogue Knives, and it's a bolster release, a slide. What do you call it? Wait, they say it right here. Single scale release. So you slide the scale. Like if these are the two scales and the blade is between them, you slide the scale slightly and the blade comes out. Made by Hogue. It's going to be awesome. It'll be expensive, no doubt, but Hogue makes outstanding knives. It's going to be in Magna Cut, and a cool way of opening it too. It's the sort of thing that if you know, but if you don't, you're going to wonder how you open the knife. I like the blade shape. The handle's okay. I just don't like them together. What can I say? But all in all, I'm excited about that one. Okay, can you scroll down, please? This next one is from the same designer, and also it's kind of ugly, but it's a chode. That's a chode knife, as Frankie and Bird would say. Yeah, it looks like a little taint, but it's no doubt very sharp. 1.68 inches of Magna Cut. It's called the Minnow, and it's interesting. But you go down and you see another iteration of the home front. This is a compact version. Love the way it looks. But below that is the one that really caught my eye. This is from Daryl Castan of D Rocket Designs. 12C27N. You got these two. It's like a Whittler. You've got, well, sort of, but you've got two Wharncliffe blades, a tiny one and a larger one, and man, it's just a cool looking knife on a sinuous frame. And I'm not sure what that. Oh, that's black and red G10, but looks very nice. I like it. And in my slip joint phase, that's what jumps out. And then we got this one that looks all right. And keep going. This one's a Richard Rogers, kind of cool, but I'm not a huge trailing point guy. And then you got the Bear Claw. That's pretty cool. But it looks a lot, let's be honest, like the Emerson LeGriff. But still pretty cool. And then a nice looking slip joint below that. Now, this one is a boy's knife sort of thing. That's a Ken Steigerwalt. And it's 2.8 inches of M390, and then you've got that fat carbon. So this one's going to be pricey, but this is exciting to me. You've got fat carbon, you got M390, and you've got a sweet looking slip joint. No bolster. That's kind of unexpected, so that's kind of cool. This CRKT, I like. I like. But it's going to take a little doing to get me to spend the money on CRKT. Again, another Daryl cast on design. Not crazy about this. The Ancestor, though it's a good size. Awkward design, I would say. And then this one here. This is cool. It's a Lucas Burnley, and I got to say that blade looks a lot like the Kershaw. What is it? Help me here. It looks a lot like the Kershaw and the Kershaw and Microtech. Remember, there was that big lawsuit with Kershaw and Microtech and ZT and that blade shape. I love the way this thing looks, but it looks too much like that 777 by ZT, and then consequently the Kershaw that looks just like it. Anyway, so, and then below that, of course, we've got another CEO. This is the smallest one ever. And so what do you guys think? Oh, and there's the Drifter, this time in flipper form. I like the Drifter. So a lot of rehashing here, but some interesting stuff, new stuff also. So CRKT coming out hot out of the gate. Hope they have some cool fixed blades. I like what they've done with fixed blades and tomahawks in the last 5 to 8 years, doing collaborations with the guy who made this tomahawk. Damn it, can't remember his name. Senior moment, Doug Bowl. Bob, I graduated 20 years before you. Now that's getting old. Oh man, 69. That's good, man. That's like that's like the Brian, the what's his name? Oh my God. Okay, I'm done. Elmer Roosh. See, not that old. But you know what, man? 69. Let's see, 69. You're still younger than my folks. You know, my parents got married in 65. So I think they've got 10 years on you. Pete Davidson, I still wear my once baggy jeans from the 90s. They are now tight and trendy. Yes. Yes, sir. See, everything just comes back around. And the Natrix. Yes. Thank you, Ketmook. Looks just like the Natrix. James Moore. That Mikaka brings to mind Shrunken Heads. Looks like they paired a small version of the blade with the larger version of the handle. Interesting. Shrunken Heads. That's a good one. All right, guys. I got a pang in my stomach. I got to go take care of. Not feeling great. And it's about time anyway. So here we go. The weekend begins here. And I want you all to have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Be sure to join us on Sunday for Byron Ray of Wolf Dog Armory. Great guy making sweet knives, Bowies, chief among them, the coolest stuff he makes, but he also does some other really awesome stuff. So check out Byron Ray, Wolf Dog Armory, and of course, check out Wednesday's midweek supplemental show. And guys, I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for the conversation. I look forward to Thursday night every week. And when it comes, I'm like, man, that was quick. And here we are again. And so I love you all. Thank you so much. Become a patron by scanning the QR code right here or going to TheKnifeJunkie.com/Patreon. And you get you hooked up right quick. All righty, people. For Jim working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying until next time, don't take dull for an answer.